Hey, Change Agents, and welcome to Change Agents TV. My name is Tracy V. Allen. I'm the owner of TVA Consulting, where we help our clients, nonprofit organizations, social entrepreneurs, and business owners to develop the systems and processes needed to build and grow a profitable, sustainable, and compliant infrastructure so that they can achieve their mission and realize their vision through education, training, and consulting. But most of all, we help them to make sure that they're creating impact in the communities that they serve. Okay, so let's get started. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and share this out. So today we're talking about business plan best practices because yes, in everything there are some best practices that just makes the process so much easier for everyone involved, the person writing the business plan and the person who's going to be reading it to potentially invest in your business in some form or the other. So let's go through some of the best practices for writing a business plan. So the first thing you want to know is who is your audience? Who are you writing this business plan for? Who are you trying to attract? Getting to know who your audience is. Are you writing it for yourself, or are you possibly writing it for potential investors or lenders? Know who the audience is for the business plan. Write them down, the possibilities. I'm just writing this business plan for myself. No, I may need an investor. No, I may need to go to the bank. Know who you're writing the business plan for. The second part, the second thing you need to take into consideration is to review other plans that are similar to yours. Now, don't go pilfering off someone else's plans, okay? You can take inspiration from the plan, see how the plan is laid out, what type of wording they may have used, but you're going to have to do your own business plan. I hate when somebody gives me a business plan to review for them and make corrections to, and I can tell that they copied and pasted and probably added one sentence, copied and pasted and added one sentence. It reads that way. And you don't want your business plan to read like it's a carbon copy of something else. Yes, look at other people's business plans, but do your own, put your own words to it. Especially if I've had a conversation with you, I can tell whether or not you wrote it. I can tell whether or not it's a copy and paste type business plan. So make sure you're putting your own personality into it. Make sure it sounds authentically like you. And that's one of the things being a business plan writer that I have to do. I got to get to really know my audience, the person who I'm writing the business plan for, because at the end of the day, I want the business plan to sound like they're the ones saying it. So getting in the head of my audience, my client, and really getting to know who my client is and how they speak, and making sure I'm writing the business plan in their own voice. And then sitting with them and going over it and making sure that they understand what's in it so that they can actually speak to it. A lot of people write business plans for other people and they just hand it to them. That person goes over it. They have no idea what they're actually reading. So one of the processes is actually, if you're going to hire a business plan writer, make sure that they're as invested in your business and they're willing to teach you what they've put in the business plan. If you're not completely familiar with it, that you can actually call them and they'll answer questions that you have. The next best practice is to create a timeline. How long is it going to take you to write this business plan? Now, if you're just writing a simple business plan, you may be able to knock that off in a couple of days or even 7 days. But if you're writing a very intricate business plan, especially if you're writing a business plan for a lender or an investor, you have to do some research, and that research takes time. You just don't want to pull numbers out of the air. You just don't want to slap words together on the paper. You want to have time to actually write the business plan, put it down, go back and revisit it, have some other people look over it. It takes time. I say usually give yourself anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to really write a thorough business plan. I know there are a lot of companies that say, oh, we can turn this around for you in 10 or 12 days. Is that really the business plan that you want? Because a lot of that is a copy and paste type business plan. They're not really taking the time to tailor the business plan to your particular business and your particular needs. So even if you're writing it or you have someone writing it, if it's the turnaround time seems to be too quick, it's probably not going to be tailored specifically to you and your business. So take your time, create a timeline of what you're going to do when. So by this time, I'll have this completed. By the next time, I'll have that completed. So you give yourself grace to get it done and get it done correctly. And make sure that when you're doing that, you put some time in there also for revisions, to put it down, set it aside. Don't think about the business plan, and go back and read it with fresh eyes. And you'll see the gaps that you've left in the business plan that you need to fill in. So create a timeline, prepare a timeline. The next thing is to define your audience. So I know it may sound similar to the first one that I said, which is considering your audience, but defining your audience. You consider the possibilities of the people who you could possibly be writing this business plan. Yourself, bankers, investors, whatever. Now you need to say who you're writing the business plan for. So now you know that you're not just writing the business plan for yourself. You're going to be looking for an investor versus a traditional bank loan, or venture capitalist versus a traditional bank loan. Whatever it is, know exactly now who are you writing this business plan for. Because if you're writing it for an investor, you may want to write it a little differently than if you're writing it for a business, for a banker. So know exactly who you are going to be handing this business plan to in order to get financing. And you want to make sure that when you're writing this business plan, you are not writing it with a lot of industry jargon, because the person reading it may not be familiar with those terms. And that's a turnoff, because you're talking about their heads and nobody wants you to talk about their heads. Make sure you're writing it in plain English, but you're explaining it in details. Whatever it is that you're explaining, the process, your systems, how your company works in actual details. Okay, gathering research. I kind of touched on this before. You're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to do industry research. You're going to have to do research, statistical research. So you need to research your audience. You have to do market research, your audience, your industry. There's just a ton of research that you're going to have to do. And you can get some of this information off the internet, like from census.gov, your industry associations, their magazines, websites, but make sure that they're authentic information, and you're not just pulling information at random, because that information is going to be vital to the success or the failure of your business, because you're going to use that information in your marketing. You're going to use that information to drive your finances as well. So make sure you're getting your information from a reputable place. The next thing is organizing the research. So you want to make sure you're putting it in categories. You just don't want to have things haphazardly around the place. Organizing yourself, starting to learn how to organize, because that's one of the key components of a business plan, is to keep you organized and structured. So while you're doing your research, make sure you're cataloging it so you know where to find it when you need it to put into your business plan. So I'm using this particular research, like demographic information. I'm going to use it in the section where I'm talking about who my target audience and my ideal clients are. I'm going to be using this industry information to talk about the company or the growth of the company, whatever it is. Organize your research. And then you're ready, finally, to write the plan, right? And some of the things you want to take into consideration when you're writing the plan is providing your business history, especially if you've been in business before. Let us know what your business history is. How long have you been in business? How has your business grown, or how has it not grown, and why you need the monies? Make sure you're using clear and appropriate vocabulary, right? Avoid using industry jargon. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are being confident with the words that you're using in the plan, and that the style of writing is easy to read. And you also want to make sure you make a strong case for competency, so that we know that you have gone through the feasibility process and this is going to work, because you've taken the time to do all the research, maybe beta test, and you have proven results that this is going to work. And that is how you're going to secure the bag. That is how you're going to get the lenders or the investors. So those are some of the tips that I have for business plan best practices. Again, my name is Tracy V. Allen. We would love to help you write your business plan here at TVA Consulting. Please make sure to reach out to me at tvacon.com or 860-890-6615. And remember, that there's someone in your community who's waiting for the products and services that your business provides. And it's up to you to make sure that you get the process right.